Okay, I cut this piece of steel like a couple of weeks ago, and then I just didn't have time to continue with that. But today, I'm going to work on it a little bit. We'll see how far we get. I took a piece of copper, this just simple copper wire, and I bent it around to fit there the best I could, and the idea is to straighten this back out and measure it so I got a distance of how much material we need there. So we're looking at about 11 and a quarter, 11 and 3/8. It's pretty rough, but that gives you an idea of what we need here. Okay, so this is what I was thinking in my head, but I think more like 4 pieces, not 6. So segments. So we're going to eliminate these 2. I'm going to measure, and this total here of all these distances will be 11 and 3/8 or so. And then we're going to use the anvil, and we're just going to hammer it into the shape we want. And well, first I'm going to cut it out with cardboard. We're not just going to cut metal like that. I got some cardboard there that I'm going to use to, and then the steel I'm going to use is right over here. That's the stuff. It's an old oil tank. That's left over from when I built the evaporator. And then the pipe that I will use will be all welded to this. So we got to go from this dimension to this. That's about, I didn't measure that, but that's about 2 inch, that pipe, I think. There's some more of that oil tank. I use that quite a bit for different things. Yeah, it's about 2 3/8 OD, and then it's about, well, ID is, yeah, it's 2 inch ID. I think that'll be fine. It's going to be hooked to a vacuum, just a regular shop vac. So, and that'll probably pull up most of the dirt, I hope, from, well, but then over here, this is a different dimension. So we're going to have a size equivalent to that round pipe over here at these ends. And then this end here will have to match up. So it's pretty easy. You can do it with math, and then you just hammer it and it should form what you want, but we'll see how this goes. Okay, so I come up with some numbers here. It may change. It may not look like this at all, but I think it's going to be something like this. 4.5 here, 3.5 over here, 1 5/8 there. That totals about 11 and a quarter, 11 3/8. But there's going to be welds in these gaps, so they may, you can fill or you can grind them out and close them, make them smaller a little bit. But this end here has to total the circumference of this round pipe. So I'll just measure that next, and that's what we need here and here. So these 2 pieces combined, and then we're just gonna start hammering like hell. I might make some score some cuts with these little thin grinder blades, and then it'll help to bend them. And then if it's weakens it a little bit, we can just weld it up. Weld a couple of them. I don't know. It won't be very long. I think in the overall length. Where did I put my marker? We're talking like I'm making it look like it's really long here, like a foot long, but it's not going to be that long. It's going to be, well, here's our actual piece here. It'll probably be 4 inches long, maybe 5. So something like this. And then we're going to go to a round, from an oval to a round. Yep, there. Keep it in screen. So, yeah, and then there'll be a seam somewhere up here. It's all welded together, so a couple of seams. Let's get going. We'll start cutting cardboard, and we'll see if we can use masking tape and tape it into the shape we want. Okay, well, I got a bunch of numbers here. That's 4.5 inches. This narrows down to about 3, and this is 7/8 over here, and it'll flare out to about 1 5/8. Oops, 1 5/8, and over here the same kind of thing. But I'm a little worried this score mark here. We're gonna have to bring this. I think this is gonna have to come in more. So we should balance this all these cuts for bending this round here. So try and bring in frame. Should be even. So there shouldn't be 3 inches, 7/8, 7/8, and then the other piece is going to be 3.5 inches at one end where it flares out, and then 3 inches at the other end. I may have to make this a little wider. Yeah, anyway, we'll cut this out with cardboard, try it, and if it's really hard to fit together, I'm going to change it before we cut it out of steel for sure. So, but I think this score mark is not going to go here. It's probably going to go like here somewhere. Not definitely. We're going to cut that out with scissors and see. And then I might come a little. I'll have to cut a little deeper in here. Maybe knock this little corner out of here. What we're doing is going from, like I said, a 11 3/8 oval shape to a 2-inch round. And then I've done this kind of thing before and it worked out pretty good, but get all your dimensions correct at the beginning. It should really go no problem at all. You may have to use the torch to heat this pretty thick to try and bend this short little pieces like that into a round, but with the anvil, I don't know, I think it'll be a little easier than I think it's going to be, but we'll see. Well, let's just give it a... And like I'm making it way longer than it needs to be. It doesn't need to be this long from here to here. This is 8 inches. So what we'll end up probably doing is cutting a couple of inch or two off over here. Or if we need it to be that long, that's the way it'll be. But the profile from the side is going to be like this. So it'll be coming down right like that. I gotta keep you guys in frame. And what I need is I have a dimension here as well. We need to be, I just measured it. I think it's inch and, I'm gonna have to remeasure that. I forgotten what that number is already. I didn't write it down, so you forget right away. But it's like maybe an inch and a quarter, or inch and 3/8. I'll go check it again. Yeah, you can kind of see how the sander sits on there. So there's the lines. The belt fits right in there, and it actually goes around that pipe that's going to continue down through there. And then the bottom of the disc sanders are right here. I think those are the 2 bolt holes for the sander, and then that little plate bolts on underneath there. So I'll go get that plate. So there's a little plate that ends up fitting something like that. I'm not sure if it's, I have to go back up. It might actually fit like this. Anyway, and then we're putting it on that piece of pipe to come out this hole right here. Just have to knock that out. That's kind of like an electrical box. You just punch that out, and then your vacuum hooks right up to that. Stick that pipe maybe an inch and a half out of this hole. Okay, so yeah. All right, I got this one cut out, and it's already looking pretty good for shape. Can you guys see? Yeah. And then we'll just curve this. It's got to fit on top of there, like that. We can always trim, make some adjustments with the grinder, cut a little more or space it a little apart and fill it with weld. Okay, so the other half is this piece. I got marked out here. It's pretty straightforward, this one. It doesn't have to be near as long, so it's a shorter distance, shorter radius. It's this piece in here. So we'll leave it a little long. I'm going to get some masking tape and we're just going to tape it up. And this should come to approximately that circumference there. That's gonna work. That'd work pretty good. Should just tape it right on there. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get some masking tape. Alright, well that's kind of the thing I want, but not near enough height right here. We need to come up. I just rechecked that measurement. It's 1 3/8. 1 1/4 I could handle, but it's just barely even. It's like 3/4 of an inch maybe right now. So this, we have to add a few, maybe 3/4 of an inch to this piece. These are fine. And then this piece here, it's not going to want to bend the way I want it to bend, so I may have to make some cuts right here and here or something, you know, something like and then just, if I want this to bend like this, there's no way on earth this is ever going to bend upwards. Where two bends are going against each other, so we're probably somewhere in here. Make a couple of cuts like that, and then I might have to add a little pie piece. Actually, I can cut it right now. We'll see what we got here. Yeah, so probably with a bit of heat. Once I weld this here together and over here, weld that together, and we bend this up. Yeah, that's gotta, might have to cut it off here. Add a piece in there maybe. I don't know. It'll be difficult to make that shape. The other side seems to be really the really easy side, but this is that tight radius, and we've got a curve going down here and then a curve going up over here, so let's get more complicated. But we want to end, I'm just going to butt join it right to this pipe, so this is all extra material. Wherever it gets nice, and on top of all that, that belt has to fit around this, so we can't be too wide here at this point. We're going to have to squish this right down, just not very far over, like literally a couple of two inches maybe. Maybe I'm gonna go run upstairs and check that sander. That belt is coming right here and here, so if this thing's in the way, if it's rubbing on the belt, it'll just chew the belt right to pieces, so we got to make sure that's in. Yeah, so we'll cut some metal out. Okay, there, got it marked out. I've gone in a little deeper right here and here. I think that'll make it a little easier to get it from that curve to the round. And I added about 3/4 of an inch here. So this is going to be the tricky side, is this piece. Okay, so I'm going to take the grinder and I'm going to cut that out. Next time you see it, it'll be kind of, well, it'll be this shape here out of steel, and then we got to get the anvil, start hammering. So it wasn't that far off with my original drawing, although these two wings over here were just kind of adding a lot of work for nothing. So we got the second piece. This is one piece, this is the main, that piece there. That's the first drawing I made of it, so out of my head, so actually worked out. Now we'll start cutting. No more fooling around. We're gonna cut metal. Okay, I got that roughed out. I think I can bend that in the vise. I think I got to go a little deeper there, but get the idea. I'll do try and get it a little closer to shape in the vise. Okay, foolishly, I believed that I could do this with the arc welder, stick welder, and you can't. So I got the MIG out. It was kind of in behind some stuff, and I thought, save myself having to get it out. Forget it. I knew that wasn't going to work. So we're going to use the MIG now. Well, it's coming along, kind of. It's not the right shape in here at all. So we need to bring this. I figured it's hot right now still. I've been welding on it. This has got to come closer together because this is nowhere near going to fit, you know, like that. It's just a big gap. So we got to bend this so it's curved up. But I may have to make a new piece like this, but that's okay. We'll use this down here. I'll use this part for sure. I think I will actually. Might use half a piece of pipe. So cut the bottom half of this off. I might do that. Yeah, that might be the simplest way to deal with that issue, because you don't need it to be this long. I'll actually cut the whole thing right there. And then we just need a small piece from here down, curved. It's kind of fitting on here right now. We need to get it a little better shape. Our 2 bolts have to fit. And it's got to come out kind of square. So if it's off, I may have to ovalize these holes, make them little, so we can kind of point it in the right direction if it's not coming out the center of that hole. But you get the idea. And I patched up the blowouts with the arc welder. Yeah, it's not easy to shape this the way I want it. It's pretty small, pretty hard curves. And I'm going to try and squeeze this together. Now I'm going to weld a little more, and then I'll try and squeeze this in. This has got to come in, or maybe make a pie cut right here. Yeah, that's probably what I need to do, make a couple of pie cuts so that it'll bend in and around. Okay, so that's what I'll do. This welder's acting up too. Sticking in there. Can't stand it when it does that. So, sticks to the tip. Right in there. Well, that's what I've come up with. So the radius here is very hard to make because it's both curving. It's curving this way and it's curving this way. So, which is near impossible to try and hammer form out of a piece of, that's fairly thick stuff. It's thicker than 16 gauge. I think it's more like 14 or 12 gauge, I don't know. So the hammering it without, I didn't heat it with the torch. If I'd have heated it with the torch, you could probably stretch it more. And but I'm trying to limit the amount of time I'm putting into this. I have literally an hour and a half, 2 hours to make this or so, and then tomorrow I'm on something else. I can't be working on this tomorrow, so it's either do or die. Either today I can always save a little bit for another day, but I want to kind of finish it today. Not so much finish it, but get this piece welded on, get all my welding done, grind it, wire brush it, and maybe even paint it. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld my piece of pipe on here after it's mounted to the machine, because I have no idea if it's going to come out of that center of that round hole at the other end, and if it's going to clear the belt. I may have an issue with hitting the belt, but I don't think it will. But there's a good chance it could be an issue. So it's better to dry fit it, and it's easy to carry that back up, bolt it back to the bottom, and we'll line up the belt the way it goes, and then we'll have to disassemble it again. It's a real pain to put it together and take it apart. It's heavy, that thing, but that's part of this piece on eBay is selling like the last time I saw it for sale, which was maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, and it was $450 or something like that, US plus shipping. So it's not an option to buy this part. It's either make it or do without. So, and I didn't want to make it out of wood. I do plan on using this for metal working, so I don't want sparks flying through this and some wooden contraption or cardboard or something. So it's got to be steel. So yeah, that's where we're at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this. I'm going to cut that little bit off there. I just checked the height from the top of this pipe when it's fitted up against here to the top of this. I need about 1 3/4 inches. I've got about 1 3/4 inches, so I think that's going to work. And then this is not very square at this end. I may cut a little square. I need to take about 1/8 of an inch off here, little things, and then I'm going to try and cut this to fit. We'll cut a little round this, something like that. And then we'll fit that in there and weld that. And then this whole thing will get shortened probably about an inch or 3/4 of an inch or more. Yeah, when it's all done, it should look okay. It's not too pretty right now. Absolutely, it's pretty ugly. It's one of the ugliest things I've ever made, but so far, but I can live with it because it's going to do what I want it to do. No one will ever see this part. That's the whole point of this. Making this and making it quick is it's not going to be seen by anybody. It's going to be down underneath the machine in a cabinet, which is in a location that you can't see. So we'll finish welding. I've got to come up a little more here. We're going to cut that off, clean up these corners, and I want to start welding this. I want to weld this to this so that we can you know, we get close to finished. And I'm going to remove some of these razor sharp edges. This thing's all razor sharp. That was cut on the bandsaw. This I cut with a 2-hole saws, I think. Well, I cut 2 holes with 1-hole saw, and then I finished the cut with the grinder. I ground with a cutting disc, and then I drilled the holes to match. The outside I just used the cutting disc to kind of knot around it. Turned out all right. You know, I'll clean it up. Okay, let's go do that, and we'll see how far we get here. I don't know, is that starting to look better? Pretty ugly, but I think once it all weld it all up, we'll grind all the welds and we'll give it a little coat of gray paint. It should look better. I cleaned up all the sharp edges on here. The only thing I think I need to take a little more off this corner. It's got a big gap over here, so if I drop that down like that, it seems to fit really close on the back side here. We can fill it with weld. It's not perfect, but let's see. Turn it over. Yeah, that's not bad. It's got a gap there. I might grind that corner there too, and that. But I think that's the best we're gonna do. We'll hammer that down. A little more curve on the back side. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, we gotta grind this and this. And so we're getting that profile, we're getting that curve. What I said we would, this is kind of what I was looking for, this shape. And then the flange would be on this. Now, the thing is we need 1 3/4 inches. But I could offset the pipe. So from here to the top of the pipe, we need about 1 3/4 inches. I can move that pipe up or down a little bit, like I could cheat a little. You know, that's what I might have to do when I fit it together. I'll find out. So we're very close to being finished. I need to get in and clean some of these things up. I think I gotta grind a little more, and then I'm going to tack weld it, and then we'll run upstairs and see how it fits and what it looks like on the machine, on the sander. This is, we're building, if you're just tuning in, we're building a dust collection system for it's a Delta Milwaukee, a Rockwell Delta. I think it's a 3110. I can't remember the number now. Don't ask me the numbers. It's a 6x48 inch belt sander, and this is the piece we're making for the dust collection system for the disc sander, which is an option. I think the part for the belt sander comes with it, but this part here doesn't necessarily come with it, the 12-inch disc. So at the bottom of the 12-inch disc, it gathers into a little opening this size, and you know, I don't mind so much that I didn't get this piece, but the way that tool is designed, all the dust goes right down on the motor and inside the cabinet. It's a terrible design. It should have at least been outside the cabinet, so it lands on the floor and you can clean it up or sweep it up or whatever, or put a cardboard box down there or something, or pail or whatever. But no, it goes right on all your moving parts inside the cabinet. the motor, the belt, the pulleys, the yeah. So that's why I really would like to have this. It keeps your shop a lot cleaner, and it's healthier for your lungs more than anything. So I think I'm gonna go over there. I'll go back and do a little more grinding to fit that a little better. There's too many big gaps right now. And then I'm gonna tack weld it on there. See if I get that down. Look at the big gap right there. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, doing the final welding. Big gap to fill right there, boy. I'll try and do it. Yeah, look at something right there. Ooh, that's getting hot. It's very hot. Very hot. Need some vice grips. We're not going to win any beauty contests today with this thing. It's going to work. It's going to do what I need to do. Welder's working better. I think the liner, there's a plastic liner inside this thing and it probably needs to be changed. It must be worn out. I think I changed it once before, but that might have been, I keep thinking it was only a few years ago. It was probably 15 years ago. So time goes by real quick and you don't realize.